Bye. Not this giant stain on my sweatshirt. What a great way to start the video. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kelby. I'm an artist, crafter, and crocheter, and I run a small art business called Snailboat Studio where I sell those arts and crafts and crochet things. Like this sweater with this spicy stabby goose on it. Because you can be silly, but you can also be spicy and stabby. Never let the people around you forget that. If you enjoy chaotic, crafty content and silly vibes, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you here. If you have not seen last week's video, I talked about my goals and aspirations and hopes and dreams for 2026. And one of the main goals that I have is to design and publish more crochet patterns this year. Because last year, I think my goal was to do 5 and I did 1, which is fine. This is that one single crochet pattern that I published last year. His name is Corn Dog. As you can see, he is a corn dog. His body is the bulk of the corn dog. His tail is the stick. He is a floppy and rotund little guy. I love him very much. And I learned a lot about designing a crochet pattern while I was making him, which made me feel a lot more confident in continuing on my pattern design journey.
The journey is usually the part that you remember anyways.
And I thought that today I would share all of my knowledge with you guys. Because when you're first designing crochet patterns, it can feel really daunting and intimidating, especially if you are anything like me and you're neurodivergent. Sometimes you can't do things without rules and strictures already in place. I know there are a lot of people who are like, I don't use crochet patterns, I prefer to freeform everything. And my brain is like,
no, you can't do that. There are rules, there are regulations. Like, you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the patterns precisely so it turns out exactly how you want it to be.
Which is something I'm working on. I used to work in a theatrical environment with someone who would always tell us, dare to suck. And that has been my motto thus far for 2026. But I took a leap, mainly with designing a new pattern. So in today's video, I will take you through my pattern design process, and hopefully this helps someone somewhere out there with overcoming their fear of designing a pattern. Because I'll tell you what, it was so scary for me to try. Because trying means that there is room for you to fail. And failure is not something that my brain is a fan of, which again, I'm trying to overcome. All of that being said, let's get into my pattern design process. My first step is finding my inspiration. Sometimes inspiration comes to me off of Pinterest. Maybe I see an art piece, or I'll find inspiration in shows or movies or TV that I like. Or maybe I saw somebody else make a really cool pattern and I'm like, wow, I love that pattern. I take that idea and maybe I mix it with another idea somewhere in my brain and I shake them all up together and then I spit something out that's completely different, because that's how inspiration works. Inspiration
does not equal copying.
Do not go and look at somebody else's pattern, say,
look at that pattern, that is so popular and people love it so much. I'm gonna make my own version of that.
Do not! Absolutely not. Party foul. The next step in my pattern creation process is making a sketch. I like to sketch out my plushies. Does not matter if you can draw or not, just draw something. I just happen to be a self-taught illustrator, so sometimes I do make full drawings. And I'm like, ooh, this full drawing would be a really cute plushie or tapestry, which is actually what happened with one of my Valentine's Day sticker designs that I made. But we'll get into that in another video. So then you take your inspiration, you make your sketch, you squish them all together, you make the pattern. But Kelby, how can I make the pattern if I don't actually have a pattern? What do I do? This is the part where you have to decide a few things and learn from the mistakes that I've made. Let me introduce you to a friend. This is Gumbo. He is a plushie that was inspired by a little needle felted critter that I made a couple years ago that I wanted to make a sticker of. So I drew the sketch out of the little critter and then I was like, wait, this would be such a cute plushie. And so I took that sketch and I ran with it. And I said, okay, let's make a plushie. Let's just pump it out. There were a few mistakes that I made in just going in blind. First and foremost, I didn't know how big that I wanted him to be. What are the dimensions, the sizes, like how big or small do I want this plushie to be? Another mistake that I made was I didn't think about how I wanted him to be constructed. Did I want him to be no-sew, low-sew? Did I want his hat to be attached or not? I couldn't quite figure out how I wanted his ears to be. So I made 2 different ears. All of those things you want to decide first, or else you will waste a bunch of time making a draft plushie that you're not super happy with and you're not super proud of. But all of this led me then to Gumbo 2.0. This is my newest pattern. I have a tester call coming for him this Monday. And not only will it be for Gumbo, it will also be for his neighbor, Garbo. Gumbo and Garbo are 2 little critters. I am calling them Gorblins because they are goblin-esque, but they're not quite goblins. They're kind of a cross between a goblin and a gelfling. For all of my Jim Henson fantasy lovers out there, I see you, I respect you, I love you. So after I made my draft plushie and I realized all of the mistakes that I had made and all of the decisions I hadn't made before I went into it, I came up with this. He's super duper low sew. The only thing you have to sew on is his ears. You have to do a little bit of embroidering and face shaping. His hat cat is a part of his head, so all you have to do is crochet on the ruffles when you're done. And he's big and floppy, he's huggable, he's everything that I wanted him to be to begin with. But I didn't know that because those weren't decisions I was making. Now, the absolute most intimidating part of making your pattern, I feel, is actually making the pattern. What I do is while I'm freehanding and sculpting and crocheting, I am writing down every single row as I go. Some people do something completely different. This is just what I do, because if I don't write it down as soon as I am done with the row, then I'm not gonna remember. Sometimes I even do it before the row. I will go around and I will count and I'll make a decision about how many stitches or increases or decreases that I want in that row to make the shape that I'm going for, which again is why you want your sketch, because if you don't know what you want the shape to be, then you're just kind of going in blind. I open up a Google Doc or a Canva doc and I already have it typed out right there. I can make my adjustments as I go to make it easier for my future self, because I'll tell you what, typing out a pattern is like pulling teeth for me. My ADHD brain will go kicking and screaming when it does not want to do something that it has to do. So I try to avoid writing down my patterns, even though I prefer to write things down with a pen and paper or straight up in Procreate with my Apple Pencil. It is so much easier for me to type it out as I go. And that brings me to our next step, which is make your pattern again. So if you didn't like your rough draft, make it again. Write it down as you're making it, which you should also do with your draft just in case you like your draft. This is my first draft of Corn Duck. I loved it. There were 1 or 2 adjustments that I wanted to make that were really small, just little detail things, but I loved him on the first try. Write it down no matter which draft number you're on. Now you have to make your pattern again. This is the one where you have to pay attention, because the first one, I'm like, la la la, I'm just making the pattern and I'm gonna go back and I'll check it again when I go on my second run through. And this one, I'm like, I gotta lock in. It's time for me to pay attention.
It's time for me to do math.
Which my brain hates doing, but I'm gonna do it anyway, because that way, when you guys buy the pattern, if you wanna, the math's all right, the grammar's correct, that's when we move on to formatting the pattern, which just means making it look pretty and presentable and readable in a Canva doc or a Google Doc or whatever I happen to be using that day. Whatever works for you, baby boo. So after I have formatted the pattern, I put out a tester call. Why do you put out a tester call? Why do you ask other people to make your crochet pattern and just give it away for free? Because having another few sets of eyeballs on your pattern will make sure that you didn't make any mistakes and you didn't miss anything. Or it allows me to receive feedback on making my patterns more accessible. And that's just a really awesome thing that people are willing to do for each other in the community. So when you host a tester call, make sure that you are taking every bit of feedback from all of your testers. Feedback is not meant to be a criticism. It is meant to be a gentle push. I mean, if somebody's being a jerk about it, yeah, like shove them out of your tester group. Those vibes are not welcome. I have thankfully never had to deal with another pattern designer being unkind. I have made lots of really cool and awesome friends from being a pattern tester, but I have seen and heard horror stories. So be nice to your testers. They are doing you a huge favor. After I host the tester call and I choose my testers and they have given me their feedback, I go back through and I do one more comb over and I tweak anything that needs tweaking. I send the testers the final draft and I say, does everything look good on this? Is it ready to go? When they give me the okay, thumbs up, looks good, looks great, then I release the pattern out into the universe. And then I let out a huge sigh of relief that it is all done, because it takes a lot to design a pattern. Like I said, pattern designing was really intimidating for me when I first started because I was so scared to mess it up. But you know what? It's okay to mess up. So let's review. Step 1, get your inspiration. Step 2, make a sketch or have some kind of reference. Step 3, freehand and build and sculpt as many times as you would like to while writing down your rows every step of the way as you go. If you don't like it, frog it, erase it, write it down again. Make as many drafts as you need, tweak and adjust as needed while you go. Once you have all that done, make your pattern again. Make sure to check any errors and mistakes and make adjustments as needed. And you can do that as many times as you want to or need to until your pattern looks exactly how you want it. Format your pattern, hold a tester call, have your testers test, make a final draft, publish your pattern. All of that probably sounds like a lot because it is. It has been so difficult for me to release patterns. But this year I am intending to release as many patterns as my brain has space for and as my life has time for. Just designing and making these guys has taken me about 2 weeks total, and I still haven't even finished formatting my pattern pattern. If you are interested in applying to be a tester for this pattern, I will be hosting the tester call over on my Instagram at Snailboat Studio across all platforms, and that will be coming this Monday the 19th. I will probably run the tester call from Monday until Wednesday or Thursday, so you've got a couple of days to apply. If you found this video to be helpful or entertaining, or just want to do a little guy a big favor, please make sure to hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that people actually enjoy watching my content and that I'm not just a bunch of rats in a sweater. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe. I would love to have you here. I would like to hit 5,000 subs by my birthday in April, and it'd be really cool if I could get there, but I can't get there without your help. I do my very best to post a new video every single Friday, so I hope you have a day as amazing as you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye!